Oh, Fox Network, that was evil. That was evil. For those of you wondering what happened last night, The Masked Singer premiered, and they were actually doing a 2-night premiere. Obviously, tonight will be the second episode, right? They were actually going to end the first night with a double elimination. I'm not going to get into who got unmasked yet because I think I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But basically, what wound up happening was right before they were about to unmask the second person, they're like, tune in tomorrow. Like, ow! Why must life be so cruel like this? Why? But you know what? That's fine. Although it doesn't really help the fact that for sure now I think I am coming down with something in terms of getting sick or whatever. And it is not putting me in the best mood per se. But I did have fun. And I'll talk more about, The Masked Singer tomorrow. Because, I can do both episodes at once, right? So it begs the question, if I'm not going to talk about The Masked Singer, why am I here in this format? Almost as if I have something very important to talk about. Yeah, Kid Cosmic in the Intergalactic truck stop was amazing. Yes, let's get into my high with kindness. So obviously my low is how the episode of The Masked Singer last night ended. That cliffhanger. I don't like it. Let's be honest, man. No one likes cliffhangers. At least in this cliffhanger, we can actually get promised what's happening next tonight, right? Anyway, my high was I did finish watching Kid Cosmic Season 2, a.k.a. Kid Cosmic and the Intergalactic Truck Stop. I will be talking about that momentarily. And my act of kindness was... Actually, what did I do? Oh, right. I actually did a little something for my dad yesterday. Nothing major, but just wanted to help him out a little bit, so I did. Good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody. Holy cow. This was worth the wait. So, for those of you guys who don't know, back in February of this year, the first season of Kid Cosmic premiered on Netflix. It was only 10 episodes. And it centers around a boy who finds 5 cosmic stones of power, and he winds up forming a team with a teenager, an old man, a little girl, and a cat named Tuna Sandwich. The end of the first season involved the aliens who each of those cosmic stones of power belong to going to fight a being known as Herodias, the Planet Eater. Only to have one of them survive, named Queen John. And she teleports everyone at Moa's Oasis into space with a little atmosphere so obviously they can breathe outside. And we pick up right from there when Moa's Oasis winds up being a very popular truck stop for people all over the galaxy to go to. In fact, their exact words were, literally, if you were to call them out in space, they're like, Moa's Oasis, like no other place in space is. I'm not gonna lie, I really like that. That's really cool. So, everyone came back to reprise their roles. Jack Fisher's kid, Fred Tashore's Tuna Sandwich, Amanda C. Miller is Joe, I think her name is. Yeah, and it goes on and on. So, when it comes to the voice cast, there was actually a lot of supporting characters in season 1, but they had a more involved role in season 2. Like, a lot of Moa's Oasis regulars wound up becoming very prominent characters. Whether they were like some of the workers, like the chef, or like Hamburg and Fry, or some of the regulars like Carla, like they all played a part in, this season in terms of not only, adding more depth to this world, but they also become heroes themselves because it was revealed that instead of 5 cosmic stones of power, there are actually 13. So basically, the point of this season was to find the remaining 8 stones of power and therefore, fight Herodias. In the meantime, though, the main villain of this particular season, outside of Herodias, is a being known as Phantos the Amasser, who's clearly designed based on both Thanos and Galactus, both Marvel characters. Basically, and it's really funny. I'll actually get into Thanos' voice actor in a minute. But Thanos, he's basically a mama's boy. He's a fanboy who lives with his mom. He has like a bunch of Herodias action figures and stuff like that. And he's been collecting the stones. And he's like, I really have no intention of conquering the galaxy. I'm just a huge Herodias. I don't want to say fan, but it was hilarious. And the best part is, there's when you first see him, there's this little minion who's working with him ever. And when the local heroes fight Thanos and they escape, he's like, Mom! And that little minion was his mom. That's hilarious. They really took a lot of risks with being funny in this season. And it really worked. There's this one part where Tuna Sandwich, and because remember, Tuna Sandwich's Cosmic Stone of Power was precognition. He's about to fight someone. He's like, nope, I ain't touching that. Right, you win, I'm out. There's just so many little quirks like that in this season, and it's great. But I actually do have to get into the biggest surprise for me, and that is the voice actor who was Thanos. And it was none other than, get this, Bobby Moynihan. For those of you who don't know, Bobby Moynihan is a very prominent tenured actor from SNL, or Saturday Night Live. And I'd seen him do voiceover before. He was Louie on the reboot of DuckTales. He was Panda from We Bare Bears. I remember his first role that I ever saw him in was Chosen, which was a really bad FX animated show. It was one of those shows that was trying to capitalize on the popularity of Archer in terms of, animation quality and stuff. Anyway, with Bobby Moynihan, and anyone who's a fan of voiceover actor can vouch for me on this. For the most part, if he's talking, I can tell it's him. But kudos to the production team, and clearly Bobby Moynihan was trying to disguise his voice a little bit, because they made it deep and brooding and powerful. But he's still really funny. Again, the whole mom joke, that was hilarious. It's so jokes like that really work in this. But it's not all fun and games. The local heroes still have a mission to fulfill. They have to find the remaining cosmic stones of power and defeat Herodias before all destruction of the galaxy takes place, right? If there was a legit theme for this season, it can be broken down into 3 words: understanding, growth, and learning. For example, obviously some time is taking place after the first season. Every one of the main characters, particularly both Kid and Joe, they have grown up a little bit. But, Kid still does act like, a kid. For instance, there's a running joke in this season where his original Cosmic Stone of Power was telekinesis. And yet, throughout the entirety of the season, up until the very end, he keeps pronouncing it wrong. Stuff like that. And Joe is trying to learn how to be a good leader. So she goes to anyone she can look to for advice, particularly Queen John, who... Here's the thing. You can buy both sides of this argument, because by all accounts, Queen John was right about some things, but she wasn't necessarily right about others. It's one of those sorts of things where, Joe winds up, leaving the team, doing stuff on her own, but she needed the team. And, stuff like that. and also understanding. See, what winds up happening near the very end is they're about to fight Herodias, and everyone who ever went to Moe's Oasis, and anyone who met Joe's mother, Flo, you know, they're like, wait, you're Flo's daughter? We gotta help him. And like they all like it's a giant armada and it's amazing. Like explosions happening everywhere. It's awesome. Like this is what I wanted to see. Although another thing about the trailer, when I first saw the trailer for this, like they did a great job of thinking that Thanatos was Herodias, the Massacre. It's like, woo, Herodias. Maybe he was like just trying to say his name in the third person, but no. It's actually just like, so great, subversion tactics right there. Who knows? Although I can't really finish talking about this season without talking about how the season ends. Naturally, after the team defeats Herodias, the government shows up. Because it turns out the twist was Herodias was obviously a giant planet entity that was made up of a bunch of planets. Well, guess what, though? Those planets all had stones of power within them. So basically, they took Herodias' greatest strength and made it his greatest weakness. It's actually really clever, by the way. So, obviously, after they make Herodias blow up, all the cosmic stones of power that it was essentially made up of fell onto Earth. And now the new Planet Protection Force, PPG, I'll get to what that means momentarily, gathers the local heroes. Sorry, I mentioned my nose. And it was like, now we have to collect the stones of power, and you are now the global heroes. And I'm like, okay. But here's the kicker. PPG is a Craig McCracken reference. Because Craig McCracken, the creator of Kid Cosmic, his first show he ever made was the Powerpuff Girls. Remember? Planet Protection Group, PPG, Powerpuff Girls? Here's an even bigger kicker. And this is an Easter egg I quite enjoyed, especially as a fan of voiceover actors such as myself. The 3 agents that came to the local heroes, not called the global heroes, were Agents Pink, Blue, and Green. Funny. Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, respectively, their colors were also pink, blue, and green. And if that was enough, the voice actors for all 3 of those agents were Catherine Cavenden, Tara Strong, and E.G. Daly. Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, respectively. Yeah, if you're a fan of voiceover, you definitely got yourself a smile out of that one. So, all in all, and here's the thing, this season was short. Like, if you thought the first season containing only 10 episodes was short, this season only has 8. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of stuff happens in it, and you're all able to follow it very well. It's all very entertaining and fun. But it's short. In fact, if you really wanted to, you could probably bang out all 8 episodes in the span of an afternoon. I chose to do it over the course of several days to let some things sink in. But whatever, it works. So if you have a Netflix account or if you're able to find it online, go watch Kid Cosmic Season 2. Or as it's been known as Kid Cosmic and the Intergalactic Truck Stop. And in case anyone is wondering, I, for the most part, have memorized the powers of all 13 cosmic stones of power. So, now I'm going to try and see if I can do this. And I'm not going to do color either because that makes things a little too complicated, but the 13 powers are telekinesis, teleporting portals, or portal, teleport, whatever, growth, or, giantism, cloning, precognition. Okay, those are the 5 that were established in season 1. And the remainder ones are fire and ice, speed, multiple limbs, stretching, stretching really far, goo, pain absorption, and invisibility. Yes! I actually got them all. Seriously, like, no kidding. All day yesterday, I was like struggling. What one am I missing? Oh, right, invisibility. And that's another thing. They do a lot of creative fight scenes with this show. Like, really great fight scenes. Like, again, another reason why I highly, highly recommend this show. And I guess another running joke in this season is Kid Cosmic loses his telekinetic ring and he gets the goo ring instead. And they do a lot of really funny jokes with that too. And spoiler alert, it's the goo stone that winds up saving the day. I'm not going to spoil how, but that's what winds up happening. Now, before I go, I do have an NFL pick to make. So I do believe it was the Panthers and the Texans. I looked it up before I came here. And you know what? The Panthers are on a roll. I'm picking the Panthers tonight. So there you go. Watch Kid Cosmic Season 2. I'm picking the Panthers to win. Hot Ones Season 16 premieres today with Jimmy Kimmel. Bro, I'll tell you what, with fall beginning in September winding down, this isn't a bad way to do it. Like, favorite, chat, the subscribe button, follow me on social platform, engage on YouTube. I very hope this video for all of you guys are watching Joe for today. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. Or remember, if everything on the Taco channel, always be here to lend and always have your back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.